What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the RX Gen 3. So this is the third generation of RX or reuleaux mods from our friends over at Wismec, and this time they decided to go a little bit smaller with a little bit more power. This thing packs a 300 watt punch in this size chassis here, which holds three 18650 batteries. So before I get started with this video, I do have to state my intent by saying that I did receive this product for free from the manufacturer for the purpose of doing this video. However, it has no monetary value to me, which means my opinions on it will remain honest and unbiased, of course, as always. With that being said, I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to the people over at Wismec for sending this my way. I always love taking a look at their products. So taking a quick look online, this thing is available in a few different color options. You have black, brown, green, gray, and red. The version they sent me is the brown one. As you can see here, it's kind of a dark, coppery kind of brown. Might not be too easy to see here, but you'll be seeing it in greater detail in just a second in the close-up view. I really wish they sent me the green one because that one stands out the most. It is a bright neon nuclear kind of green, and that's just kind of my color, and I actually might pick one up myself, even though I already have this one. But with that, the price point on this thing is going to be around $70 online, and that is for the kit, including the Gnome tank. If you don't need the Gnome tank, then it's going to be around $55 for just the RX Gen 3 by itself. You can also get it from a Chinese vendor for around 55 bucks for the kit, but then again, you're going to have to wait a few weeks for shipping. So without further ado, let's dive down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we've got our RX Gen 3 in its original box, so let's quickly take a look around the packaging, and then we'll talk about what's inside. So first and foremost, nice little spot gloss on the picture of the mod, which is nice, and some silver emboss on the Wismec logo, and the logo's up here. So on the side, we have the reuleaux logo. Both sides have that exact same thing, as you can see there. Top has wismec.com, and the bottom has a Wismec logo, all in the nice silver emboss. The back, nothing new here. Company information, color indication, scratch and check, UPC, contents of the box, and some logos. Big deal. Let's go ahead and open up the box and take a look at what's inside. So first you get the mod itself, and we'll be taking a look at this in just a second here. So let's just go ahead and put this off to the side for 1 second. You get a big block of foam, a little battery warning thing not to use torn battery wrappers, and this is pretty much the state of the bottom of the box as you'll get it. Now, I'm not sure if they improved this at all since the full retail version came out, but this is pretty much how I got my box when it first came in, and as you can see, it's a bit of a jumble, so let's just go through this one by one here. We have a little Delrin 510 drip tip in a little baggie. You have a piece of glass in a little baggie. Probably not the best place for a piece of glass. Really wish they had some foam around that. And same thing with this here, the actual Gnome tank itself, just kind of floating around in the bottom there. We have an extra coil for the Gnome. This one is the dual coil setup. We have a obligatory USB cable, of course, for firmware updates. And I'll add that to the collection. We have our manual, and oh, minus 10 points, Wismec. Come on. I've seen them do booklet style, and they insisted on a fold-out style, so that goes right in the trash. Here we go. See, booklet style. That's what I'm talking about. Something that's going to be a little bit easier on the people. And yeah, this is just one of those multi-language kind of things. Very, 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 very wordy, and looks like there's a lot for each language. So there's probably about at least a few pages. So yeah, we got like 6 pages for English, so a little bit of light reading for you guys. And last but not least, we have this little card here that explains the different coils that you can get for it. Now, I think we saw something very similar to this in the Vape kit, I believe. I think it was the Vape kit had one of these little cards in there that explained a little bit more about the actual coils themselves. So if you really care on reading that, then maybe you can pause it or something. But yeah, it's basically explaining the different wattages, the different number of holes in the coil, and the clouds versus flavor that you get. All right, guys, so real quick, I'll just run through some of these specs for you guys. First of all, it takes 3 18650 batteries. Wattage output range is 1 to 300 watts. Maximum output current is 50 amps. Minimum atomizer resistance is 0.05 ohms. Temperature range is 200 to 600 degrees degrees Fahrenheit. It supports nickel, titanium, stainless steel, heating elements. It has TCR adjustment mode, preheat function, soft polymer angular frame, intuitive 1.3-inch OLED display, oversized firing button, 2 adjustment buttons, hinged battery door, battery balance charge system, dual circuit protection, onboard reverse polarity protection, upgradable software, micro USB port for firmware upgrades, and a spring-loaded stainless steel 510 connection. And next up is the Gnome tank. First of all, it has a 4 mil max juice capacity, superior stainless steel construction, Pyrex glass reinforcement, retractable top fill method, stealth dual bottom airflow control. It takes the WM coil series, which have 0.15 ohm WMO2 dual coil head rated for 30 to 70 watts, and 0.2 ohm WMO3 triple coil head rated for 40 to 130 watts. It comes with a Delrin widebore drip tip and a proprietary PEI widebore tip as well, and of course it's 510 threaded. So there's not really too much else to talk about when it comes to the Gnome tank. All you have to remember is push on Jaybo's name to open up the top section there, and that's exactly where you're going to fill it, and then it just slides closed just like that. Now, Europeans, close your eyes and ears for a second, because I'm going to tell you a little secret to make this a 4 mil juice capacity tank. Now, when I open this tank up here, you'll notice that there was a big gap in this upper section right up here. So that gap was filled before with this big rubber or silicone little plug. So basically what this plug does is prevent it from being a actual 4 mil capacity and turns it into a 2 mil capacity, which is TPD compliant. So that is kind of Wismec's little kind of roundabout way of getting around the TPD compliance. But with that, if you are living in America, then you have full right to remove that little plug and make it into a 4 mil tank. But otherwise, Europeans, don't do it. It's against the law. Make sure you stay compliant. Alright guys, so here is a quick start guide for the RX Gen 3. So first and foremost, let's install some batteries. So as you can see here, it is marked in the bottom of the tube as well as on the lid of the battery cover as well. So it makes it really super easy to know which batteries go where. So positive up there, positive up here, and positive down on that one right there. And there we go. So instant on, which is really, really nice. So on and off is basically just 5 clicks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the device is off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. It's on again. And as you can see, I'm at a whopping 54 watts. Screen is nice on this thing. Shows your battery level for each individual battery. And once it gets below 50%, the number will flip from the white side to the black side, which is kind of cool there. Something really interesting about this system. But other than that, some basic operations to change modes. Just 3 clicks on the fire button, 1, 2, 3. And you can change the mode up top there to temp control, TCR, or back to power. So holding the fire button and the power up button brings you to another sub menu here real quick. It has the logo on and off function and the preheat function as well. So if you wanted to use that preheat function, then you can set the power and the time right on this screen here. If you hold the fire button and the power down button, that will turn on and off stealth mode. To change any other function besides the main power function, especially in temperature control, all you have to do is tap the fire button 3 times and then click the power down button. Choose which one you want. It'll start blinking right there, and then you can change it with the power up button. And that's pretty much it for the basics of the RX Gen 3. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of the video. Now let's talk about my personal thoughts about this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not it's worth purchasing. Starting off today with the pros, and my first pro is that it's smaller and lighter. And yeah, I know that's not really saying much considering the fact that it's still a little bit bulky and it's still a little bit heavy compared to most of the 2 battery mods out there right now, but this thing houses 3 18650s, so what do you expect? Now, as a size comparison, I have the original 200S right here. You're getting about a 1/4 inch reduction in height, and a little bit of bulk reduction when it comes to the bottom here. They kind of trim down the angle on this thing here, and it makes for a little bit of weight reduction as well. So with that, it's slightly reduced in size, and you can kind of feel it when you're holding it, and it just feels that much better in the hand. I really always loved the 200 series of the RX, and with this here, it makes it even that much more comfortable to hold. My second pro today is the big screen. Now, I thought it was a big jump going from the RX 200 going to the RX 200S. It kind of doubled in size there. Well, you're getting about 1.5 times the screen size of the RX 200S with the Gen 3 here, and I gotta say, they improve it every single time. The screen is big, it's bright, I can read all the numbers easily, and there's not a whole bunch of extra junk on there that I really don't need to be seeing. It has the battery, shows the coil resistance, the voltage, and a puff counter, as well as your wattage, and that's really all the information that I need on my screen. So with that, it's big, it's clean, it's beautiful, and I absolutely love it. My third pro today is how easy this thing is to use. Now, I for one like to be able to just rip the box open, set it all up, and fill it with juice and be off and vaping in a matter of a couple of minutes, and that's exactly what you get with the Gen 3 kit. I for one really don't like going through a million different menus to be able to get to the settings that I want. This thing here, you tap the button 3 times and you can change it from regular wattage mode to temp control to TCR, and just turn it on and off with 5 clicks. It makes it super simple and not overcomplicated, and that's what I absolutely love about this device. And my fourth pro is it's got battery life for days, and I mean that quite literally, considering the fact that when I run this thing from 50 to 90 watts-ish, I can get more than a full day's use out of it without changing my batteries. So that is something that is completely invaluable to me. I go back to the RX series of mods time and time again because of the battery life. Whenever I'm going on a trip somewhere where I know I'm not going to be able to charge my batteries all the time, especially conventions or things like that, I always pack at least 1 or 2 triple battery devices for that exact reason. These things come in handy when you need that crucial battery life, and having 2 or 3 of them handy is definitely something I take into consideration when packing for an event. And my fifth and final pro is the airflow on the Gnome tank is rather smooth. Now, just taking a look at the Gnome by itself, you wouldn't really think smooth airflow, but at the end of the day, I feel like it comes down to the actual size of the airflow slots, the size of the bore on the tip and the chimney, and even the coils I feel like play a role in this as well. Just having those multiple coil heads makes a difference and kind of just smooths out the whole thing. And it's actually pretty quiet too. I really enjoy vaping on this thing because it's not super whistly or obtrusive, and that definitely scores a lot of points in my book. Alright guys, so moving on to some cons. My first con is that this thing really heats up when you're charging it with a USB cable. Now, I would strongly advise against using the USB cable to charge this device just because I did it for about 10 minutes and it got scorching hot. I was really worried about the safety of myself and my mod and everything else. I just had to set it aside and keep an eye on it for about 10 minutes after I unplugged it before I took my first vape on it, and even then I was a little bit scared. I would really just recommend you guys take your batteries out, get yourself a good quality 4-bay charger for this thing, and do it the safe way, because it's not worth risking the safety of you, your house, your mod, or anything else for that matter, just to be able to have a vape and charge with the USB. My second con today is that filling the Gnome tank with a glass dripper is a pain in the ass, and I always end up with juice all over myself. Now, as you saw in the close-ups, filling the Gnome tank should be easy because the top just kind of slides open like that, and you can fill it with a plastic squeezy bottle, a unicorn bottle, anything like that, and it's no problem. But if you've got a glass dripper, sometimes the drippers don't actually fit into the little slot, which means you're going to get juice on the top cap section here, and when you go to close it, it's just going to push that juice over the side, all over your tank, all over your mod, all over your hands, and it can get a bit messy, so that is definitely negative some points in my book. My third con is the plastic pieces with this device. Now, it's mainly talking about the surrounding area of the USB port and the battery door. I, for one, really didn't mind the battery hatch system that the 200 and the 200S had, but this one here has a hinged kind of locking design, as you can see here, which for some people that's great, but for others it's kind of more of a pain than it's worth. I personally believe that that piece feels really, really cheap, and if anything's going to break on this device, it's going to be something in this lower section here, which is kind of the most important pieces of this device. So the bottom section here definitely feels really cheap, and that's also going to see the most wear and tear, so I really feel like that was kind of a poor design choice by Wismec. My fifth con is that the Gnome Gnome coils lack a little bit of flavor. Now, this is kind of a controversial one because, of course, I've only tried a couple of different fruity flavors on these coils, and with that, I haven't tried dessert flavors or custards or anything else, and everyone's palate's going to be a little bit different. But for me, from what I've tried and what I've experienced trying this tank versus a lot of other tanks, I'm going to say these coils lack a little bit of flavor, and they're proprietary, so you can't use any outside coils for this tank. And my sixth and final con is 300 watts. Now, you and I both know that it's not possible to get 300 watts out of 3 18650 batteries. Now, I don't care who you are or what type of magic you practice, you're not going to get a sustained 300 watts no matter what you do. And yes, I know you can get little short bursts of 300, but it's not a true 300 if you ask me. And besides that fact, who really needs 300 watts? Why is it that companies keep pushing more and more wattage into our face and act like we actually need that sort of wattage? I am currently vaping this thing at 54 watts on the Gnome tank, and I am completely happy with that. Will I ever do a 300 watt build video? Well, it's possible because you guys probably want to see that, but at the end of the day, I really feel like it's completely unnecessary and absolutely ridiculous if you ask me. So at the end of the day, is this thing worth purchasing? Would I go out of my way to pick one of these up if I didn't get this one for review? Yes, but without the Gnome tank. I gotta say, I can take or leave the Gnome tank. It really doesn't do anything for me, and it's really not the most revolutionary tank in the world. With that being said, the RX Gen 3 is an excellent mod. Am I gonna use 300 watts? Probably not, but I use it for the battery life. That is one thing that is absolutely crucial and key to me. I just fell in love with the RX series of mods, and I continue to this day to be completely in love with them, and I will always, always, always be carrying one in my vape bag, and they will travel with me around the world. So if you guys want to pick one up for yourself, make sure you check out the links I've got right down there in the description. But that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Also, leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts all about the RX Gen 3, Gnome tank, or anything else you guys want to discuss down there. Also, check out the advocacy and my social media links right in the description below. You can also grab yourself a brand new Daily Vape TV hoodie. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on! Blah, 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 blah.